Hello, beautiful, sexy human beings. Good to see you always. If God had a name, what would it be? And would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all of his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? What if God was one of us? Just like a slob, just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus trying to make his way home. Center of Light, gonna be right back. Good to see you always. Hello, divine, sexy human beings. Good to see you tonight. Tonight is Center of Light, Unity. Center of Light, Unity. What if God was one of us? When do we realize that? If not now, when? I fashioned this presentation and I want to acknowledge a beautiful teacher, sister friend of mine, Sylvia Isaacson. I watched her do a delivery today. I was compelled to do this presentation surrounding her talk that she gave today that I will play shortly. Hello, Dana, Cindy, Katie, Sylvia, Nori Love. Hello, Nori Love. Also, everyone, Center of Light is shifting rapidly, and you are the largest part of that. Many of you know who you are. You have gifted Center of Light monetarily. You've shared. You've cared about yourself, about me, about we. It's what this presentation is about tonight. And we will all see something of a greater nature. At least that is my objective, my goal, my blessing, my wish. It's so delish. Just doing my falling inside kind of thing, getting into my space. Do you get into space often? The vastness, the darkness of space, where light and everything is birthed. Fall into that space. Rebirth yourself every day. Why not? What else do you have to do except reach to the glory? Hello, lovely Rena. Everyone's Center of Light is changing, as I was mentioning. Here, I did post the link to the fundraiser for Center of Light. Other people are coming on board graciously to support Center of Light. We are expanding. And I'm handing that to you. What do we do? If not now, when? We always put off. But when we put on and put in something, when we invest in the chest and open up that spiritual escrow account, then your life really begins to count. It begins to matter. Life seems to only matter when we're in a shitstorm. Because every day is jolly. Jolly's fine. But there are bigger jollies to be had, bigger fish to fry, if you will. Are you that fish that Jesus was catching? Well, he caught you. Now what you gonna do about it? Maybe you shouldn't do anything at all, but allow it to happen. Maybe that's simply enough. I think it is. If not now, when do we see the unity, the God fire, the divine, omnipresent grid that is not only in all things, it is all things. It's in the things, and it's the things themselves, which is the manifestation and expression of God through us. Depending on how much clarity we have in the mind, rather no mind, but it's actually using the mind correctly. To use the mind as a tool and not allowing it to use you as a slave. This is not the master. This is the master. And notice who I'm pointing to. I'm pointing to me. And when you point to yourself, likewise, we all see that what if God was one of us? It's all of us. It's the stranger on the bus trying to make his way home. We have these lofty, beautiful they are, but they have their place in our learning to walk from a crawl. We have these lofty ideas of what God is. And in our lofting of it, we're raising something so far into infinity that we've lost sight of it because we can't see it anymore. It's out of our scope of being able to take in that light. But when you look in the mirror, it hasn't gone anywhere. You experiencing yourself in the mirror in your bathroom, or the mirror of another person, or in the mirror when you're humbly praying to your favorite deity, if that's your way. God is present. It is the one witnessing itself. And in this connectivity of the greatest aspect of anything that could ever be something that matters, to the lowest aspect, down to the level when we think we don't matter. Slowly, but surely, day by day, by day by day, second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, we're expanding, whether you know you're expanding or not. In fact, there's nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna say this directly, there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. You can't do anything about it. You're expanding, always. You can never go backwards, no matter how hard you try. Even if you try to go backwards, you can't. There's no such thing as a lack of progress process. It's always turning within itself, becoming greater expressions of the absolute in only one. And you are in the one. Jesus said, I, meaning him, I am in my Father. Jesus is in his Father. Now his Father is in him, and I am in you. Try to escape that conundrum. You can't. Hello, my brother Lewis. So Jesus says, I am in my Father. Jesus, the circle. I am in my Father, the bigger circle. And then Father's in Jesus, and then I am in you. So this is you, and Jesus is in you. So you have a circle within a circle within a circle. There's the Holy Trinity right there. On 3 different layers, levels, opportunities. Every cell of your body encapsulates infinity. It is infinity itself, except the cell has a mortal, if you will, life, and it will go kaput. But from dust thou art, unto dust thou shalt be. It's you and me. It's we. I'm going to do a song break, come right back. We're going to get into Miss Sylvia Isaacson's presentation. She's a powerful psychic. Wow. I had her on Center of Light Radio a year or so ago, a couple years ago. You can see it. You can feel it. It's palpable. It's tangible. It's graspable. It looks just like you. See you shortly. Let's see what we're going to play. How about 2B1? There you go. Tonight is Center of Light Unity. If not now, when? What if God was one of us? From Lavender Soul, my spiritual band. We haven't done an album in quite a while, but enjoy this tune. I'll see you shortly.
Making one of 100 million pieces, making one of each and every heart, giving one love like you really mean it, seeing one in each other every day. Loving one is how to get to heaven. Sharing one, the love that you are. Hearing one, that little voice inside. Being one with all the people. Teaching one all the children about love. Lives to make a difference, caring for one who really needs a friend, opening one to truth that they see, lifting one to dwell in the kingdom, dwell in the sending one only thoughts of happiness, receiving one love that's your gift. Think as one ends the separation. Being one saves the world. Teaching one all the children about love. Finding one your own peaceful heart. Causing one to feel peace too. And that's the way. That's the way.
Welcome back to Center of Light. Good to see you tonight. Always good to see you. I love my life. Do you love your life? I love your life. It's good to see you tonight. This is what tonight's presentation is about. Lovers of everyone's lives and of life itself. Even those bad people. I understand self-preservation. I get it. It's a universal law. It's a universal right. But what happens after said something, someone boogered and bothered you? Where does it go from there? It's being stuck in this place that keeps us revering that which is lofty, airy-fairy, flighty. God's always flighty. Did you not know God was flighty? Did you not know that? God is very flighty. Sounds like an insult. Well, actually, it's called perspective. God is flighty because it's always beyond our level of reach. It's lofted. It's flighty. Because it's the reflection in the mind, of a flighty mind, that God is always out of reach. There is no need to reach for God. You don't have to reach for God. It's not a reaching at all. It's a peeling away of our own mental nonsense. You don't reach except maybe to grab the mind and metaphorically pull it apart, to let the light simply resurrect. This is the purpose of Christ, consciousness, and the man, Jesus, who became it. It's our turn. There would be no point to the Jesus story. It would be no point for Jesus himself if it wasn't for us to become likewise. He called us brother / sister. If you can do things I do, if not more. What does that mean? This came from the teacher himself. You do things I do, if not more. How can we do more than the Christed man? How can we do more? This came from his mouth, his heart. How could we do more if God is up here? It's out of our reach. Hello, Christine. See, it's not about reaching. It's about opening and opening. And all you have to do is learn or unlearn, but learn how to fall. You want to go skydiving, my friend? Of course you do. You love it. It's a great idea. It's very exhilarating, and you haven't gotten in a plane yet. When they open that door, you're about to experience the vastness of nothing. You're attached to your tandem teacher, and you're about to both jump out of the airplane. And the words in your mind and on your lips are, "Oh my God." Are you going to jump? Perfect analogy, isn't it? Who in their right mind would jump out of a perfectly good airplane? So the mind is not right at all. Sikhs, ascetics, monks, yogis, people do it every day. I do it every day deliberately. Do you? Hello, Kelly. Now let's move into Sylvia Isaacson. I play teachers all the time because it's not about me. It's about the message. So, Sylvia Isaacson, friend of mine, she was been a guest on Center of Light some time back. She's powerful. It's very angelic. If I'm not mistaken, she had a near-death experience, I think. But I know she does near-death experience work. She's a powerful intuitive. Heads up, hearts open. It'll be about 25, 30 minutes. So enjoy it. Take it all in. She speaks with a divine tongue.
Hi everyone. Super excited to be here to share ways that you can access God today and now. And I've given it a lot of thought, and I'm really more than excited to share this with you because I know that this is going to help you transform your lives from today on. So good to see you all here. And one more thing is that if you do want to actually chat, all you have to do is subscribe, and then you'll be able to chat your questions in as well. So there's a lot of questions that we ask ourselves. Hi, Maria. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Crispy, Craig, Anne. There's so many of you here. I'm just going to get on with it, and then I'm going to answer your questions. You can post them in the chat. So there's so many questions that we have towards God. And I think some of them are like, if you exist, where are you now? And you might be able to relate to that, and you could post your comments about that. But we're looking at the world saying, where is God today? And how can God show up for me? And then we go into this prayer, and you're listening from Texas. Awesome. And Rainbow Mom, Ronald. Oh, Sergio Please is here too, and Crispy. Okay, so you're asking yourself these questions, and they're fair questions. I think that all of us have come to a time and a point in our lives where we're saying, okay, we've devoted ourselves, or at least we believe that we've devoted ourselves to being seekers and believers, and we want to do the right thing. But there's one thing I think that most of us are missing. And this is the one thing I want to talk about for you so that you can access God. What we do, this one thing that we do that's stopping us from accessing God, is we see God as being over there. God is over there. God is in heaven. God is somewhere else. Now, I'm not saying God can't be everywhere, because that's true. However, the one place God is, there's two places actually. We're not really looking for God there, and that's where God exists the most, particularly during this life experience, and that is within yourself. Hopefully that's not a letdown, because you know what happens is that we know ourselves so well that we take ourselves for granted, and we take that the kingdom is within, and that's we take for granted. And then the second place that we don't look at all is within others. I want to give you a great example of this, okay? So somebody comes at a critical point in your life and they do something phenomenal. They help you in a way, perhaps somebody at a time when you were grieving that came and drove all the way from somewhere far away to come and be with you. Maybe something happened and you lost something, and somebody, like a whole group of people, came to support you. Maybe you weren't feeling very well and there was a prayer circle for you. Oftentimes what we do in those circumstances is we'll say, well, thank God, I give all thanks to God. And I'm not here to tell you that that's wrong. What I'm here to tell you is that God is in those people, and that God is acting through those people. And it would be nice, I think, if we, you, me, understood that when people do acts of kindness, that we have to acknowledge God in them. And when we do, two things happen. The individual who is allowed God to move through them and to act on the God within them becomes more empowered with love and wants to do more. And when you see God within yourself, you feel moved to do better. Better for you, better for the world, better for everyone. When we remove God out of the conversation, say, I'll meet my maker when I'm in heaven, or God, I'm not good enough for God. All those conversations, we're going to have those today, okay? So I do encourage you to continue to post here, and I want to see if I can pull in the chat. I can see your chat, by the way, right on the side, so this is awesome. But I want to see if I can pull it in. No. Can't see it. Last week we did it so successfully. By the way, thank you for all the well wishes. Yes, I was a little sick, but during this week it got me. It was real intense. But when we experience pain or sickness or loss, it's a great opportunity to come back to gratitude, because gratitude for our health, for all the things that we've been given, for the people in our lives, and more importantly, for the God in people that has showed up to us right now. So that problem with believing that you'll only see God in heaven and that God isn't here and that if God were here, things would be better. The problem with that is that we can never create heaven on earth if we are focused on God being somewhere other than here. And if we can't see God within each other, two things happen. And neither one of them is good. One, we lose faith and hope. And two, we're not being and creating on behalf of the Creator to our full potential. And that's exactly what our life here on earth is supposed to be about, is about creation. Now, loss is part of the story, but that's not a part of the story that, I don't know about you, I don't enjoy it, and I assume that you don't enjoy loss either. Loss of family or friends, loss of health, loss of finance, loss of love, loss of anything. We don't want that. What we want is we want abundance, and that's why we use that word abundance and manifestation, which brings me to manifestation and abundance. First thing first, when you recognize the God in you and the God in others, and that's what that word namaste means, by the way. So when we do this is the feminine, the masculine, namaste. The God in me recognizes the God in you. That's a very powerful, ancient saying. And, this is a spiritual channel. This isn't about one particular religion, and it's not about, it's about you and your connection with God. It's about your devotion to seeking the truth and devotion to God. And, God is good and all good things and all creation. God is the opposite of loss. So if we want to be in the rhythm and in the vibration of God and have good things and have good experiences, then we have to start recognizing A, who we are and that God exists within us, and B, that it exists within other people. So when you have that expectation of God being in other people, you can rely on people, you can trust people, and you can develop together with people, join and create a bigger creation. But when we believe that God is elsewhere, we look at people like, wow, you're the problem. Those people are the problem. That person is bad. No, we really, truly do have to believe in people. If you can see this example, for example, if you have children around you, they don't have to be yours. You can just see that if you speak to children in light, and if you speak to them in empowering words and positivity and anticipation that they're going to be amazing, you're going to see that result. And we're not that different. We are like children in grown-up bodies. And however we speak to one another and what the expectation is of one another is exactly what the result will be. And back to the near-death experiences, a lot of time people's souls are sent back because they say, you still have work to do. Or maybe that key question is, okay, you did this and that. For example, I know there's a famous case of a physician and somebody who dedicated her life to volunteering in cancer wards, on and on and on, and she had a near-death experience. I mean, this woman had a beautiful legacy of what she was doing. And she was questioned during her near-death experience, and that is, did you ever love anyone else like you love me? Now, why do you suppose that question was asked? The reason the question was asked is because that's our goal. That's the whole thing. That's the whole realization. Today, April 24th, Sunday of 2022, you're getting the answer right here and right now. And something happened to me this morning as I was preparing with Shelly G, the room moderator. I remember that song. Do you remember that song? What if God were one of us? Do you guys remember that song? I thought to myself, my goodness, there are people out there who already know this. That singer, that artist sung that song. And when I used to hear that song, I'd be like, why would she say, what if God were one of us, just a slob like one of us? I thought that's quite offensive back in the day when I felt quite self-righteous because we all have a journey, don't we? I can't stand here and say to you that I've never had to go through the evolution. Anybody who's a seeker is going through an evolution. But now that I hear that song, I recognize that she knew that that's where we were going to find God. And she sang an entire song about it and planted that seed, because that was the first song that I remembered. So what does that have to do with you? Well, whatever you're doing is your opportunity to plant the seeds and to build the harvest of that God is within each of us. And when you think of the context of just how many people are here on earth, that would be 8 billion people, 8 billion versions of God, and how we can cultivate that garden. Now, I know there's going to be somebody here that's thinking, yay, that's exciting. But there's also someone here that's thinking, yeah, but what about those bad people? What about people who do bad things? Correct. Look, there's no doubt about it. Those things happen. There's no doubt about it. I was sick all week, like really sick, okay? Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that God doesn't exist? Does it mean God doesn't live in me? It just means that we need to get those people and these situations in alignment with the God vibration of light. And the word faith comes to mind. So I kind of want to share something with you. So the word confidence means con with, fidence is faith. So with faith, you can walk through this life with confidence, in faith that God exists in you and others. And if you don't feel empowered, and if you don't believe it, then this is something that you can work on. And I'm going to share some tools that you can use to work on that. First and foremost, you have to have a desire to be better, to acknowledge it. If you feel that you are not good enough, that's the first thing we need to deal with and get rid of. You were created by a creator as a thought. And to think that you're not good enough is to say that God's thought wasn't good enough. So boom, there's your solution right there. We all know that God's thoughts are good enough. The question is, are you willing enough to step up to the plate, to love yourself and to love others, and to find God in others, to cultivate it in yourself and cultivate it in others? That's the work we came on earth to do. That's it. That's the real work, is to find God within ourselves, love ourselves, and recognize God's creation in ourselves, and to find it in others and to cultivate it to make the world better. Look at the alternative. We're living the alternative right now. How's it working for you? Right? How supported do you feel in this paradigm? And within this dimension, there are people that are at varying levels of awareness of this fact that I'm sharing with you today. I'm not the only one, and now you're not the only one that knows, but people know that you are God and I am God. Now, here's something we do that really sabotages this, is when somebody works so hard to help you. Maybe it's your parent, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's a friend. And then you say, yeah, thank God, thank God. Well, that's okay. I love that. But how about thank the God in you? The God in me recognizes the God in you. What a great saying the Indians came up with. They understood that. They understood that by acknowledging God in the other person and what they did. What you're saying is, thank you, I love you, do more like this. Thank you, I love you, do more like this. Isn't there some kind of Honopopo something like that? There's this prayer, and I just love it, and I can't remember the name of it, but basically acknowledging the God in other people, then people will do more. Let's look at the alternative, the opposite to that, okay? So when somebody works real hard at trying to make you happy in the sense of, let's say you're sick or sad and they pray for you in earnest, or perhaps they're doing acts of kindness or acts of service. And when we say, yeah, God did that, how do you think that makes them feel? They're not going to say to you, really? Well, and they might even feel, ashamed to say, aren't you going to acknowledge me and what I did? They'll never say it, but what they will do is their light will dim. Do you want to dim lights? Don't do it. God will love it if you recognize him in others. And also, he said it himself. He's going to be here. Christ, God, the angels, they're here with us. And we just want to say, wow, that's not good enough. You can't be an angel. You can't be God. God can't be within you. You're not perfect. Didn't you do that last week? And that's where forgiveness comes in. And that's where that song comes in. What if God were one of us? Just whatever like one of us. We do not want to acknowledge that in the realm of God, there can be a little messy. We don't want to acknowledge our own, and we don't want to acknowledge it in others. We just want to say, like, well, if you did one thing wrong, you've lost all of your credibility to be anything good. What does that do to people? You know, so our goal and our job, first and foremost, self-care. Love yourself. Get to know yourself. Get to know the God in you. It's not an accident that every morning you wake up and you feel good and healed and better from your sleep. Now, I know some of you are suffering from things like depression and other ailments. I want you to know something. I feel compassion for you. This week really taught me to have compassion. Sometimes in the past, I haven't been so compassionate towards sickness. And let me tell you, this one brought me down to my knees saying, please. And I realized what was happening. So there is an opposite to this. There are some people that are what we call, it's not a very charitable name, but we call it people pleasers. People who go around just trying to fix everyone and everything, never getting acknowledged and getting run down. Well, I fell into that role. And now I understand that loving other people and loving yourself doesn't mean sacrificing, doesn't mean being a martyr. It means being an example of light and good as much as you can. And you cannot be that unless you honor and love yourself first. And you can do that by creating some systems, rituals, like, for example, meditation, self-care. You hear about that a lot. And honestly, when I first started to hear about self-care, I was like, yeah, okay, like a massage or, and there's nothing wrong with a massage. But self-care goes beyond that. It goes to honoring the God in you, honoring the source of healing, love, faith, power, production, creation, all of the things you do, honoring the work that you do in this world, honoring the things that are around you, having gratitude for who you are in your existence. When you are in alignment and in the zone of gratitude for who you are and saying, you know, God made me, I'm a thought of God, and I'm here. I am so fortunate, so blessed. First, starting with yourself, loving yourself, and then everybody you encounter, that's the energy that you have. The God in me honors the God in you. This is so critical to our success as a human race. This information on this little channel, on this little day, if we could actually implement it on a larger scale, where we understand that we're going to find God in others and to quit distancing God, quit distancing the Christ consciousness. Know that the Christ consciousness is in you. When you say, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, what you're doing is, if God could speak to you, God would say, I'm right here. I've given you 8 billion examples. Out of 8 billion, there's got to be at least 7 billion that are good examples of me and my love, right? The question then comes to, who are you? How are you acknowledging the God in you? How are you activating it? And how are you acknowledging it and having gratitude in others? How are you really showing care and concern for others? I don't mean that you have to go, look, we have these ideas, these typical ideas of we have to go out and feed people and go to the food bank and everything. And then that's good. That's very good. But there are many, 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 many things you can do using your own talents today, right now. In everyday, we dismiss people and everyday gratitude way too much. And I'm here to tell you, Those are opportunities that we're leaving on the table. Those are gems that we're not cultivating. Those are gardens that we're not harvesting from. And we really need to find God in one another so that we could be happy, so that we could be abundant and whole and loving and have a better life. You realize this is about you, right? I'm not giving you a task to do, and I'm not saying to you, you have to go out, do this. No, I'm saying acknowledge who you are and acknowledge it in others as well. Acknowledge God so God can be accessible right here, right now, today. And that requires believing. That requires believing in yourself and believing it in others and finding God. Now, when we don't do that, what we do is we discourage other people. We discourage other people from being loving, from being kind, from being generous. Because when we do, oftentimes we're not appreciated. And it's true. There's no gratitude. And again, next time something good happens to you, and you can tie it to a person, I want you to tell that person, I am so grateful for you for letting God shine through. I'm so grateful for you being the hands and feet and soul for God and God's creations. I do appreciate you. I'm not going to thank the wind. I'm going to thank God in you, because that's where God is right now. God is also in our environment. God is also in the children, in the animals, and all of those things. And when we disrespect all those things, or let's say, I'm not going to assume you're a disrespecter. I know you are. That's why you're here at the channel. If we don't give enough gratitude and love and appreciation to all those things, that's when we fail. So when we drive down the street and think, what could little old me do? How am I going to change the world? I'm telling you right now, you have a crown and a scepter, and it was given to you from God. And you have the power of God within you to do anything positive that you want. You don't have to sit back. You don't have to feel little or not good enough. You are so empowered. Remember who made you. This is not a coincidence. This is not a story. This is a reality here and now. Let's read some comments. I am grateful for you, Sylvia, says Brooke. Thank you so much. I am grateful for you. I love you too. All of you. But Brooke, you know what you do? Let's talk about you for a moment. You have a channel. You're constantly, whatever channels and platforms you have, you're sharing your truth. You're sharing your love. You're sharing your giving, sharing your smile. Share and share and share. And you know something? People love you for it because they recognize that you have the healing of God within you. And I know you, so I can say that, but everybody on here that I don't know, yes, I do know you, because you have the same God in you as I do. It's just that we haven't unfolded it yet with each other, and the opportunity is there. Thank you, Brooke. And look at Panina. Hi, Sylvia. So good and interesting to hear from you. You comfort my soul. You comfort my soul. Thank you for being here. Ricardo. All right. So now I want you guys to know something. I've set it up because everybody wants to talk and ask their questions. And sometimes people don't feel comfortable asking on the chat. So we've created a little membership area that you can come to. Do you have to? No. Can you? Yes. The link is below, and we're going to meet and answer questions in a smaller group after this. But for now, let's continue on this conversation, okay? So again, Shelly G, the room moderator, she'll write down and explain where it is and how you can do it. Let's talk about how we can leave today and have full accessibility to God for you so that you can act on God's behalf, doing all the wonderful miracles. Yes, I said miracles. Isn't it a miracle when someone goes out of their way to help you at just the right time? We call it a synchronicity. I call it a miracle. What if you chose to be representation of God on earth? How would that change how you acted? Now, look, I'm a human being. You're a human being. I understand that we are on our way to working towards perfection. But we can't pull ourselves so far away from perfection in God that we live in a world that's devoid of recognition that God exists right here and right now. How do the flowers bloom? How does the sun come up? How do you have like people around you that are doing things? Think about this, like even when you drive on a road, somebody made that road. Even when you go to a grocery store, somebody planted the seed, harvested the food, drove the food to the store, picked up the food. Somebody's there for you. There's a cashier. They might be grumpy people, they might be nice people, but everybody worked on with their talents on your behalf. On your behalf. And the more and more miracles that happen, the more and more tone deaf we're getting to God. The more and more comfort that we have, the more and more we see people suffering for no reason. And when we say, well, if God existed, then why do bad things happen? I want to ask you that. Why do you think that that's true? If God exists, then why do bad things happen? Because maybe we're not acknowledging God. Maybe we're not being God. Maybe we're not recognizing the God within us and how good we are and how good people are and how good we are together and how we can nurture one another and how we can truly find bliss and heaven right here. And how, not everyone's perfect and it's okay. Isn't it about helping one another become that? Somehow we have such a high standard for ourselves where God lives. We have such a high standard. It's okay to have a high standard, but understand if it makes you be tone deaf to God, then we need to reevaluate that. Sometimes we have to look at a high standard as judgment for what it truly is. Sometimes we have to let go of judgment. And sometimes we have to look deep into people's eyes to understand that they're feeling the same pain as you and that you can heal that pain by loving each other. And I just want you to imagine what kind of a festival this world would be if we all looked deep within each other's eyes and made it our top priority to love ourselves and others. Man, that would be great. That would be so, so much better, wouldn't it? Let's do it. Now we do quite a bit, by the way. I don't want to say that we're not doing good. We do. Remember, in order for you to buy an apple at the grocery store, it went through a lot of hands. So we are, but I think we can go a step above. I think we can access God more freely and more abundantly. Isn't that what abundance is? A lot of people think, I want to manifest wealth. I want to manifest abundance. I want more, 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 more. And that's okay. That's our nature, right? But if it's true that having more wealth, having more love, having more abundance, if it's true that that's what would truly heal us, then why is it that people who have all of that in spades are still not happy? I know why. Because our ultimate goal here is to recognize and nurture the God in us, to bloom and create the God in us, and to recognize it in others. And there will be nothing that will replace that. Nothing. Go ahead, try as hard as you want. And then you'll come to the realization that all those things are good. Wealth and all that, they're all good. But they don't replace that deep and fundamental need to recognize and actualize the God within us and the good within us and the vibration and the power and the creation within us. The same power and creation that created galaxies and universes that continue. That's you. That's you. Do not reduce yourself because you are so, so connected to something so, so big. And that means that's you. That's part of you. That's who you are. That's a big part of you. So go ahead, find God in others. And as I wrap this up, I want to let you know how I came to this conclusion. I was in a deep meditation. Sorry, I feel emotional. I was in a deep meditation in a time, a low faith time. And I really didn't find God in others. And to be honest, I wasn't finding it in myself very much either. And I meditated and God spoke to me. Yes, totally sane, absolutely normal person, heard it audibly. You will find God in the beating hearts of others, Sylvia. Let me rewind that. He said, Sylvia, today I'm going to answer a question that is on your heart, but has not been on your lips. You come in meditation with a question, and then you sit. And he said, you wonder where I am and if I exist. And it was absolutely true. Go figure, God knew. And he said, you will find me in the beating hearts of all living things. And I thought, oh God, this is like, it wasn't good news to me. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is the best news ever. I wanted to find God somewhere else because I didn't believe God existed in other people. I was lacking in faith. I was lacking in confidence. Con with fidence means faith, confidence. I was not confident in trusting other people because I had a few bad experiences in life, like you, haven't you? Have you had a few bad experiences? Has that ruined your whole idea and repertoire of who you are and why we're here and what our purpose is? Let it go. Let me tell you, yesterday, just a memory, doesn't even exist anymore. Go find it. You'll never find yesterday, and tomorrow's not even here. Right now is the only place and time you have. I want you to run out today and find God in as many people, situations, flowers, animals, nature, and love and nurture. If you don't say it with your words, at least do it with your heart, okay? Because that's exactly where God lives. And when you do that, you're creating a garden. But there's one but. Don't look for the response right away. Don't say, oh yeah, okay, she did it and it was right. Let me see what's going to happen. Because just like a garden, when you plant a seed in the right season, that seed will grow and then you will harvest it. Be patient. Focus on the work first and the results will come. And that's my message for you on this Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I hope to see you again next week. If you want to hop into the Zoom, what's going to happen is I'm going to create a link right now, and in the membership, I'm going to post it. If you are a member, you're going to see it as a post right on YouTube, and you're going to click that, and we're going to all meet in Zoom, and you can ask your questions. And this is my labor of love to you. This is my appreciation for you. I want you to feel as happy and as glorious as I do inside of my being. I love you, and I'll see you there. Or I'll see you next week.
Welcome back to Center of Light. Sylvia Isaacson. I posted more information link in this forum. Check her out. She's the bomb diggage. Tonight is Center of Light. If not now, when? Very simple, honest question. Powerful it is it not? It almost scares the bejesus out of you. You mean I got to do it right now? Yeah, you do. Really, you do. No shit. Goddamn right. You got to do it right now. If not now, when? What if God was one of us? When do we unite only for the sake of humanity, which is enough in and of itself, but to add whipped cream on that pie? It takes unifying and gluing the all of us together to be conscious of God itself, because that's what God is. It's all of us. What if God was one of us? It's all of us. So I'm going to pose a question, and then I'm going to share something simple that I do all the time in public. And then I'm going to read you in closing something from my most recent book, bestseller, Homecoming Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, which you can find in this forum somewhere, probably at the top. Sylvia says, thanks, Keith. Thank you. Everyone say hi to Sylvia. So let's get, let me read you these two statements rather. You ready? Take it how you like. Take it on the chin. Take it straight to the heart. It's up to you. For the person who has captured God in their heart, God becomes their slave. For the person who has captured God, I contain you now. You're mine. For the person who has fully captured God in their heart, God becomes their slave. I know this to be the truth. When I play music in public, or even just out in public, listening to a band, or just hanging with people, try this, and you will see for yourself what Sylvia and I are sharing with you is the power we all have been looking for. That you could summon God at your command. How is that? Here you go. I can walk into a room and change the dynamic. How do I know? I don't. I just know who I am. When I walk into the threshold of the room, other than verbally, which I have no trouble doing and have done and still do, is announce myself on some level that I'm going to have a good time tonight. This is the bar. The bar is raised. Nothing lower than that can happen. And if something lower than that happens, then I do work on myself to say I'm not exactly on the manifesting mark yet. But it does not mean that something beautiful cannot come out of nonsense. So, perception. When I meet someone for the first time, let's say I'm playing music, which is always a good excuse. I love it to meet new, sexy human beings like yourself. I just get on break and someone waves me over. Hey, Keith, come over here. I want you to meet somebody. I say, okay, I'll be there in a minute. So I go over there and Keith meet John or Jill Doe. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. And as soon as I am in that place, in that garden, in that space, it's on like a pot of neck bones. And there's nothing that person can do about it. Why? Because I have captured God in my heart. And I'm about to capture God in their heart and watch God walk directly out of that person straight to me, right in front of my face and right in front of theirs. And there's nothing they can do about it. So what I do is I find something about the person, physical beauty, a nice chain, the sound of their voice, maybe it's musical or they're from another country, what a nice cologne, all of it, doesn't matter. I'll find something and I begin to massage it. I take it in myself to the level God is, that is God. And I see the person in front of my face begin to morph to the level of God that I have captured. And in that moment, God is my slave. God is at my command because I am acting in the stead of God, not above, but in unity, in harmony. Because when we reach this level of consciousness, God entrusts you with absolute power, not entrust you, because in absolute conscious harmony with God is God itself. You can do this. It's easy. Find something you love about that person and stay with it softly. Massage it. Masturbate spiritually. Touch yourself for real for once and watch what comes out of it. It'll be a new birth, a new creation through this intercourse. From homecoming, crossing the bridge to the soul. Y'all better get ready. The it is coming for you. All of us. We are due, all of us, what's coming down the pike for Humanity. It is humanity. Vanity is dead. Couple of memes. Tonight, myself and Sylvia have been speaking about what if God was one of us? If not when, if not now, when? You don't know who you are. You think yourselves as Hindus, Muslims, Christians, etc. But really, I am telling you the truth. There is only the one. If you see only the one, there is no question of Shiva, Vishnu, Buddha, Jesus, etc. But as long as there are two, then there is suffering in the world. Opposition. Ananda Mahima. Meme number 2. God is not this lofty thing. It's not. It's not. Not only is it here around you, it is you, except that which is in denial, that which doubts, that which is unconscious. That is the key word. Everything else are subfolders of being unconscious. God is fully conscious. So we have to find ourselves within to a level that is God, or that God is fully conscious. Someone asked a little girl, "Are you Hindu, Christian, or Muslim?" She answered, "I'm hungry." Make humanity your religion. From Homecoming, Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, my dialogue with Spirit all those years ago. Spirit starts off. Tonight is Center of Light. If not now, when? What if God was one of us? Unity. God is not only one of us, well, it is really. It's actually you and there's nothing else. But we have fragmented our beautiful selves only for the purpose of reconnecting and celebration and joy again as children of the Most High. I come to you now to teach you how to accept me in order that you may replace your sorrow with joy and your trepidation with love, to help you supplant separation with unity. You see, when you live in the love state, not only are you in my presence, it is there that you consciously merge with me. But we have to get you there first, dear ones. It may be difficult for you to understand that I'm here communicating with you through this vessel, but at the very least, you can not deny that we are having this translation, can you? And I say you are right about that. But you are not the only one I am with, Keith. I talk and walk with everyone on every continent every day. It is just that many do not know how to recognize me because they believe, as Sylvia said, and I say in support, because they believe I am in heaven and not on earth. Then there are those who are completely satisfied with knowing that I exist, but care nothing whatsoever about doing the work required to see me. And I respond, sometimes I can't see you myself. I mean, I sometimes still buy into the belief that I'm having a relationship with others and not with you. Yes, Keith, by not letting yourself see me and others only brings grief and fear into play for you. The fact is that I am with everyone personally and directly all the time. All the time. It's right there, right now. It's right now. It's a taste in your mouth. It's everything. Moving on. Yes, Keith, you still have a tendency to separate others from God, but not letting yourself see me and others only brings grief and fear into play for you. The fact is I am with everyone personally, directly all the time. And I say, or ask the question, so no matter what the scenario, even in an argument with someone else, I'm fighting you? And Spirit responds, yes, it is true you are resisting me, but you're really just fighting yourself. This is why an argument can never be won, because the fight is yours and yours alone. Ever since I have realized yours and yours alone. I didn't put a space. So Even in our argument with someone else, it's still our own internal bickering, our own internal fight. This is from my point of view, the back of this book. Many years ago, ever since I've realized that I am God and not in this egoistic, that's not it. It's a celebration into the liberation of who I am, as I acknowledge who all you are, which are better versions of myself. I love it. Ever since I've realized that I am God, we are God, everything is God. God is omnipresent. I've experienced moments that most people would call miraculous. And I've noticed that when I take time, as I said, that exercise, when I meet someone for the first time, that I bring God out in them, because I brought God out of myself by doing this prayer meditation with the desire to see the fire in someone standing across from me. Ever since I realized that I'm God, we are God, everything is God, I've experienced moments that most people would call miraculous. And I've noticed when I take the time to recognize God in others, my ego that has always separated me from them vanishes, and better relationships are the result. Spirit speaks, my children of divine light eternal. We're going back home to the garden, yo. I am, that's for sure. Join me. My children of divine light eternal. I know that you believe in God, but if you want me to help you, let me start that over. It's worthy of starting over. My children of divine light eternal. I know that you believe in God, but if you want to help me help you shape the world into something worth living in, it is not enough to simply believe in me. You must know me as I know you. That's the connection. And know that I am ready to do what I have always done. Work through ordinary people just like you, who are making themselves available to anchor the divine principle. In closing, from my perspective, maybe you, maybe me, maybe we, maybe you are in the same place that I found myself in all those years ago, confused, angry, and without direction. God bless you. If so, my first suggestion is to do as the title of this chapter says, look within. Take an inventory of how you feel about yourself and begin to see the choices you have made have affected not only yourself, but others as well. When you begin to assume full responsibility for everything that happens to you, you will find yourself becoming imbued with that conscious power that God not hands you, that you earn by rite of passage because you've unified with consciousness. When you begin to assume full responsibility for everything that happens to you, you will find yourself becoming imbued with the same kind of power I've found, and you will be able to consciously create your own life as I am able to do now. Here's something for you to try. When you're around others, a more descriptive way of the exercise I explain when I meet someone. Here's something else for you to try. When you're around others, practice expanding your awareness outward, inward, and all about. All you have to do is put your God-given senses to work, and you will begin to discover, as I did, the good in all things. Begin to feel. Begin to touch people. Begin to see. Begin to listen. Begin to know. Begin to be. Dear Lord, begin. Lastly, get back to basics. To help you do that, I will now offer 3 tenets that have been and are still quite helpful to me, and that seem to be the foundation for my spirituality. I'm having a moment. Center of Light Foundation. This is the foundation of all light no matter which your logo or brand or religion, creed, code, or sect. It's all center of light. And at the center of your being is the light pillar itself. That is the bedrock, the foundation for everything that ever was, is now, or ever could be, and beyond what we can even imagine true God being is, at least for now. Here are those 3 tenets. They will serve you well. The all-knowing tenet. If turning inward unites me with God, then it makes sense to me that omnipresence, which God is, one of the omnis. If turning inward unites me with God, then it makes sense to me that omnipresence, peace, is my natural state. At the core of who I am, there is no noise. There is no noise in the core. Therefore, in the core of who I am is peace. It's my natural state. Number 2, the all-powerful tenet. If turning inward unites me with God, then it makes sense to me that omnipotence, one of the omnis of God, love is my natural state. Hello, Mary. You see? Connecting with God is not that hard. You don't have to pay a toll. It's not long distance. In fact, it's right here. Tenet number 3. The all-pervading tenet. If turning inward unites me with God, then it makes sense to me that omnipresence, liberation, is my natural state. Liberation, omnipresence. No one lifts. Well, we can lift individually, but we cannot fully ascend until everyone does. One is the all, and all is the one. There is only one religion, the religion of love. There is only one caste, the caste of humanity. Oh my God. There's only one language, the language of the heart. There is only one God, and He is omnipresent. Love your brothers and sisters. Doesn't mean you have to be next to them. Forgive. Live fully. Show them the way. Because that's what you are. The way. If not now,